Welcome back, guys, to the Fitness Podcast. Today we have Emily, who's a Bambi on ice. She basically missed. Did you miss your flight? Let's just talk about it. Let's go straight into it. What happened yesterday?
Yeah, I missed my flight, but I was super early at the airport. But I already had a feeling because my PCR test didn't come through, right?
Oh,
I
ooh.
sent it off Sunday morning with a priority post. And yeah, Tuesday at 3, my flight was supposed to go, and I still hadn't received my result. So I got to the airport probably about 4 hours before departure, and then I did a rapid PCR test, and that didn't come through until 15 minutes after check-in was closed. So it was really stressful. So I've done 2 PCR tests and I rescheduled my flight. So I fly out today. And at least I have 2 negative tests. So I'm super clean. Yeah. So I just missed it and it was super stressful. And I realized that people are so much on autopilot in this life because like people are so rude when they're on autopilot. And I had like one nice guy yesterday, and he was, I mean, except from Nate. Nate was really sweet to me yesterday. And yeah, so I missed it, but it's okay. I learned something and it was a good lesson. But I felt like at least I didn't do, because I'm usually the one running to the gate. I'm always late to the airport. And yeah, so I felt like this time it shouldn't have been this way because I was actually planning and going there early, but I missed it. So I was really emotional yesterday. It was stressful. But
Lesson
then,
learned, eh? Going late.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, now I'm like super close to the airport. I'm probably be late. No, I won't be. I'm gonna be there like really early and just sit inside the gate instead of, I don't know. So yeah.
Travel. Actually, I was telling this story yesterday. Came out to someone. I was telling the story about how I missed my flight to India
Oh yeah.
yesterday.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That
I was
was
gonna ask you,
mental.
like, have you had a similar stories where I'm like, I was with you when this shit happened. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk about
like I traveled for a whole year and only had one issue with a flight, and it was conveniently with you. And
that.
that was wild. Like, so for the viewers, for the Trinidad and Tobago listeners out there. So what we did was we were in India and we're sitting in Goa, and we both kind of got the shits, and we're both sitting in bed, and we're just sitting in bed doing work, listening to rap music and comedy. I'm like, wow, let's stay here for a few more days. So I had mine booked. Kunal hadn't booked his because he's like just lazy as fuck. And then he booked another flight, and it was fine. And then I booked another flight because I was like, I want to be on the same flight as you. We're going back to the RNC Christmas party. We'll go back together. We'll get a suitcase. We'll stay overnight, and then we'll go to the event the day after. And then, lo and behold, we traveled from Goa to Delhi, no issues at all. Fine, couple of hours, whatever. Fucking India Air, living our best life, which is like Ryanair, but like worse. And
I can't believe you still remember that. India Air,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
That's
India. I was fucking. I was literally scarred from this event, wasn't I?
yeah.
So, then we get to Delhi, and then as we get to Delhi, we're getting sorted. It's quite security high in Delhi. Like we had to like unback our bags a few times, get actually into the airport. They don't let you out of the airport once you're in the airport. You're literally like locked in. And we go to the bag stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, we just like you're not like." He taps in, he's fine. He checks in, fine. And I go and like, "Oh yeah, you're not on the flight." And I'm like, "What do you fucking mean I'm not on the flight?" They're like, "Yeah,
No,
you're not
no.
on the
What
flight."
happened was, do you remember? It was quite bad because we were panicking because we were in a queue. Like it was a bit crazy, and we were like, our flight's supposed to leave in like an hour, and the queue's still, till the test goes apart basically. And I was thinking, what's really going? We were like, what's going on? We're trying to like fit in, and obviously Nate's white, the only white guy there anyway. So
Yeah,
everyone
but bare aunties in front of us with like fucking 75 packages each, like bringing
knows.
over,
Yeah.
bringing home fucking Gujarati rice.
And we don't know what flight they're going into either, right? There's like it's so separate everywhere, but it's also like they're all in one line. How did we get through that? Did we just sneak in and then you just got told like, mate, you're not
I,
on.
I said, I said, boss, we're going to London. We're going to London. Like,
Yeah.
okay, come here. So then we ran up like past everyone, and I was like, "Here's my passport. Let's go." And they're like, we can't find you on the flight." And I'm like, "Huh? I know I'm on the flight. I've got it here." Anyway, it turns out because I didn't use the first flight from Goa to Delhi, I used a different one. they didn't activate the second flight because they thought, oh well, he's not using it, so therefore you lose it. Like you were saying yesterday, Em. And I was like, what type of shit is this? Like I've paid for 2 tickets. Like just because I missed the first one there's a high probability that I won't get the second one, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. So anyway, so K-Mac's like, it's like, we'll make or break. It's like if K-Mac doesn't run to the airport now, he's fucked in it with me. So like we're like, bro, go, leave without me, go. So K-Mac goes on, literally gets his little sprint on in his Yeezys, just goes through. And then I'm left at the Delhi airport and I'm like, okay, what have I got to do now? So I had to go and get a new, I was like, all right, let me just get a hotel for the night. I'll get on Skyscanner when I'm at the hotel. Go and walked up to the only hotel in the whole departure lounge because you can't go outside. You're literally trapped inside. You can't go out anymore. You're in, it's done and dusted. You're either going on a flight or you're not. And I was like, oh, fucking hell. No phone battery, phone signal. I was like, okay, walked up to the hotel. I was like, hey, can I have a room? They're like, have you got a flight? And I'm like, no, I haven't got one yet. And like, well, you need to go and get one before you can come to the hotel. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I had to queue another hour to get a flight to India Air, which is the most unhelpful airline when you're in a bit of a panic. And they're like, yeah, so you're going to have to pay £700 to get a flight to the UK. And I'm like, okay, steep. When am I going to get it in for? Obviously trying to still get back for this event. Trying to get it in. I'm like, the only one flight out is like 4 a.m. in the morning tomorrow, and you'll fly back. You'll get in at 6 p.m. and hopefully I'll be at the event for 8:30 or 9 or whatever. So anyway, do that. Get to the hotel. Go upstairs. Dieting at the time. Didn't diet that night. Banged out.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember he sent me an image. He goes, "I'm gonna binge tonight."
Yeah. I was like, I'm eating tonight. Fuck this. So I had like my last dosa in Italy. I had fucking pav bhaji. I had a chili paneer curry. I had naan bread. I had the whole shebang. I went to the hotel room quite happy and full, and I was boozing as well on my own in this airport in Delhi. And then I ended up waking up, getting a flight, and then got back safely. But then as I come in, like we went to the anniversary Christmas party, and as I walked in, I still had the beads on, the Indian beads that I'd been wearing the whole of the holiday, that I didn't even know what they were. Like I was just wearing them because it was fucking shits and giggles, and we got them free at the Mumbai hotel, the Taj hotel. And I walked in and just fucking 300 people started screaming my name. It was mental.
Yeah.
But that was my
now why we didn't get it the tickets and stuff like that, because we couldn't check in at Goa. Do you remember it?
Yeah,
that's what it was. And they were like, oh, you didn't check in, and we're like, but we couldn't because there's no flipping internet. What could we do? And they still didn't get it. It was just one of those things, like if something's gone wrong, they don't know how to respond to it. It's like if it's not in the manual, if internet goes, I've got the answer here. If it's not there, it's like, how the fuck what do we do here? I remember I had to sprint. And I literally put up a story before I left. I go, free Nate.
Yeah. Hashtag free Nathan.
My DMs when I left was flooded. They were like, what happened to Nate? Is he all right? Is he in prison? People thought obviously Nate was in prison, something like that, because he thought he attacked someone or whatever. And I'm like, no, I just missed the flight.
I had literally like so many DMs like, are you gonna make it? Are you there? Are you safe? Are you okay? I've got an auntie in Mumbai if you want to go. I'm like, I'm in fucking Delhi. Like, your auntie in Mumbai doesn't matter.
It's not gonna work. Yeah, it's not gonna work right now. I'm not taking another flight.
Can't get out of the airport, like, let alone go to your auntie's house.
But you know what? Don't you feel? And this is something that I find it really humbling. And I found it yesterday. And I can handle the stress, and I'm like, okay, I need to do this. But the moment someone becomes kind, I just break down. So it's like I'm really like boom, boom, boom. Okay, I need to do this, and this happens. Okay, whatever. Okay, next thing. And the moment someone just shows a little bit of humanity, I literally break down. So this is what happened with the guy I came up with. He was so, honestly, I wish I knew his name, and I wish he works today so I can just go and like thank him for his kindness. And he was literally just like, you're right. It's okay. You can always get on to the next one. And he was just so nice. It's like, and your holiday is going to be even better. Just like reassuring, like really kind. And I was like, with my mask and everything, just like, and I felt really. And then I was like, okay, I'm fine. Do you want to sit down? I'm like, no, I'm fine. It's just I can't handle like. And then I just cried a little bit. But isn't it like the nicest thing when you feel, and the same with you, Nate, like when you feel someone just reaches out their hand for you and they're there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and you don't get that in day-to-day life. You get it when you're in the shit. And I really like, it's so humbling. Even now I get a little bit emotional about it because it's so nice. And like people that barely know me on Instagram will reach out. And I'm like, not even my best friends reach out, but you guys, like some people like genuinely just ask, how are you? Are you okay? And this happened when I got stuck in London for Christmas lockdown last year, and people were like, do you want to come and stay in my hotel? We're gonna make this dinner over here. And like people didn't know me. And it's so, I don't know, like humanity, it just like breaks my heart, but in a good way. And I really felt that yesterday as well, which is why like emotionally you just get really like taxed, I think, because then there are people running their life on autopilot, so rude, and they just like give you a standard answer and just go, oh well, if it's not in the manual, I can't help you, I can't show you I can't even, even begin. And then there will be other people who are not living on autopilot, or their instant reaction is to, hey, let me do whatever I can to help this person, or let me just show that person that they are not alone, or they, yeah. So I think that was a really nice experience in a way, even though it was really stressful, for
He's
sure.
probably had two reactions as well to him, right? Like there's been probably a person who he's probably said the exact same thing to, but that person's probably been like, fuck you, I've just missed my flight, and I missed a big business meeting, whatever. And I think you're still quite present in that, like, it's quite kind, because it's a rarity to get it generally, because it's also a service as well, right? Like it's part of customer service. Like I said, it's not part of the manual. They're not being told like, just be kind to everyone, or if they miss a flight, whatever. It may be part of their training. I have no clue, but it's there. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that TV show used to be on Sky One. I think it's all about like airports and stuff, and they used to show this stuff, basically where people miss their flight, and it was just basically all in the airport and how their lives were and stuff. Fascinating stuff, how people reacted. Like if someone missed a flight, even the guy was like, look, it's all good. Like literally the same reaction as whatever that guy told you. Same thing, someone else gets it, but they react so differently. They're like, are you kidding me? Are you telling me it's okay? But it's not okay. I've missed my flight. I've done this, this. I've now got to pay this much money. And then you're like, the other person's just like, I just said it's all right, calm down. Whereas you've reacted in such a different way. It's quite cool to see. But it just reminded me of that TV show that I've seen, like, and I've seen clips of it on YouTube. I'll probably send it to you guys pretty soon as well, because it's interesting, because especially when people miss their flight and you see their reaction, like they go crazy on like, the officers, and like, I need my money back, or this, and it's like, it's absolutely crazy. I feel sorry for those. I think it used to be on Sky One back in the day. I forgot what it's called now, but I'm gonna try and find it and then send it across.
It's like for those shows, it was like chill the fuck out. You go into Tenerife for a week, like, you know what I mean? You're gonna go.
Yeah, it was literally that. Like, but then I realized some of them were like in the business meetings and stuff. I remember there's a couple episodes where it's Christmas, and some of them missed their flights for Christmas, and they went to like Scotland or something like that. But they're like, and one of them just starts breaking down like crazy, and they're like, you still can't get on.
Yeah,
Literally.
but that was, for Christmas, because I was supposed to fly home, I think on the 21st of December last year, where everyone was going to fly home for Christmas. And I remember standing, and they were like, we were at the gate. It was 20 minutes before we were supposed to depart. And our flight was the first one they cancelled out of the UK, when the Delta variant came. So like they closed the borders for the UK everywhere, right? And here we stand. I mean, I had like all of my bags because I was literally moving, and I was just looking at the people, and the reactions were crazy. Like some people were like screaming, some were like literally, wah! And some were like just crying. Someone was screaming at the little service person at the front. I'm like, but that's not their fault. Like, you want to put blame on people so quickly, or go like, and they just need to get their regression and their emotion out, and they put it on the people when it's actually a system. And that's the thing that actually is sad, which is, every time that someone was quite rude to me yesterday, I still don't want to be like, I don't want to put it on the person, because it's part of their system. But then obviously they might be so stressed or not happy that they just go on autopilot, or they've had really rude people in front of me being really rude to them. So their only response to me now is to go and be rude. So I try to just go, okay, let them be rude. I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm gonna walk away, or even if it's just what I smoother with Monday. Yeah, watching YouTube. But so I think, with the guy yesterday, when he was so kind, it broke me out of my stress. Like, he's like, there was a cut in my emotion of, and he made me just feel like it's not the end of the world, right? Because you're in the emotion, it feels like at the end of the world, like you're fighting for your life, and then you literally just okay, wait, it's okay. And then you find out how you move forward, right? So he helped me just snap out of the stress of it. And I already knew I wasn't going to make it, but it was like, I don't know, it was good.
Was it because of the PCR test, or why did he make it? Is it because just mainly of that?
Yeah, because my first PCR test, it didn't come through. So obviously they can't check you in unless you have a negative PCR test. And I ran and did a rapid one, but at that point, it was too late to get it within the 3 hours. Like it would have literally been 3 hours and 15 minutes, which has turned out to be, it took them 3 hours. So my check-in was a bit too late because no one directed me there in the first place, because people were just in the autopilot telling me to go and stand in a queue to talk to a supervisor instead. So if I would have been directed quickly to go, you need to go and go do a test, it's over there, then I would have made it. But because people are on autopilot and but I have to take responsibility as well. I probably should have gone even earlier, right, to sort this out. But what can you do? You think that the system should work. You send a test. They need to have it within X time, and you should get it within X time. With my calculation, it should have happened, but it didn't. So who's to blame? It's just the system. I don't think I did something wrong, and I don't think the people at the laboratory didn't do something wrong. The people at the post office didn't do something wrong. There's a system that was broken, at least in this case, and I just have to go, okay, and just frame it as in this was supposed to happen. I wasn't meant to go on that flight, and I can be okay with that, and life goes on. And in the greater scheme of things, it's only 24 hours that I'm losing with Nathan in Dubai, which seems so trivial now. It's like, it's only 24 hours. I'm literally getting there 24 hours later, and it's such a small thing, but yesterday was huge. It was so huge for me. I was like, fucking hell, what am I gonna do? Like, you just go into like survival mode. But now
It's an experience you'll always remember. I mean, that's the reason why. Like, Nate still remembers vividly, like, how many flights has been on? Like several, right? But still remembers that one experience going from like Delhi to London. I think you'll always remember it. It's the reason why we're talking about right now, and you'll kind of, the emotions will always be sparked up, regardless. Like, we can ask you in 3 years' time, Emily, do you remember that time when you missed that your flight to Dubai? You'd be like, oh my god, this is why I remember this. You'll remember it vividly because it doesn't happen every single day, right? For most people, like, it's just one of those situations where like circumstances change and whatever happens, and that's the reason why we're talking about it right now, because it's just like the emotions is sparked up in you as well.
The funny thing though is that I have like a slight PTSD for going to Terminal 5 in Heathrow. Because I always have trouble getting out of the country when it comes from Terminal 5 Heathrow. So like when I was going back and forth to Sydney, every time it was problems, and I almost didn't make my flights every time. So like actually, and it's with Qatar as well, and I love Qatar Airways. Like, I think they're amazing, but to fly out to Sydney was a whole different ballgame, because then it's about how I have a different letter in my name, so they can't scan my name. So when they scan my passport, so it didn't go with my visa, and it was like always the same thing. And I would be early, and I would be the last one running for the gate, and like sweating, just sitting down between like two fat men, and just go like, like. So I have like slight PTSD. So even when I got to the airport, I had this like, ooh, okay, this is going to be an interesting day. And it turned out to become a quite interesting day. So I don't know, if I have to ever fly from London Heathrow again, I'll probably do like a layover somewhere else, and I go a whole different route, because I can't do it.
I think also, in my experience with Heathrow, and we're just going to fucking dog off Heathrow for a little bit, is that like the security people that do the bags are complete cunts. Like, I've been to so many airports in my life, and there has never been so many times that I've been checked by my baggage with the same thing in every single week, right? We're talking like the same thing every single week, and nothing they find in that bag is bad. Like, never left some water in it, never left some Vaseline in it, never left a fucking gram of coke in it. Like, I've been really, really clean. And then when I go through every single time at Heathrow, oh, we're just going to check your bags. I was like, all right, what are you going to find? My laptop. I'll tell you what you're going to find when you open that bag. My laptop, 2 books, headphones, 2 pair of headphones. You're gonna find a camera potentially. You're gonna find a notepad. You're gonna find my lunch, and that's what it is every single time. And yeah, Heathrow, they always treat you like a piece of shit as well. Like tell you where the best airport is for this type of stuff. Amsterdam. They don't give a flying fuck. They don't give a flying nothing.
You got a liter water, a liter bottle of water. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, no worries. It's not 2 liters. It's fine. Yeah, it's like literally you walk through and you could have a bag of weed on you, whatever, from Amsterdam, and their scanners are so much better than anywhere else that they'll just like, yeah, they'll let it through. It's fine. And obviously they got the dogs, which then sniff out the good stuff, and then literally you can have anything. You've been like, where was I the other day? Where was I? Even like some of the scanners in Dubai, like don't take water and beverages into the expo. There's a bottle of water in my bag. Don't give a fuck. There's literally just don't bring a gun, don't bring explosives, and don't bring a knife. Like, it's legitimately like they care about the big rocks as opposed to Heathrow. Like, excuse me, but your see-through plastic bag can't close the top.
You can't close the see-through bag.
You can't close it. You can't. It's there. You just can't bring that moisturizer in because it just can't close the top of the bag. Like, and do you know what they do as well? This is terrible, right? So. I've seen this and I felt sorry for these geezers, but I wasn't part of the group, so I just walked off and was happy. But like, I was coming back from Miami and I was stopping off in London to get back to Dubai. And when you come from America, you can bring as many liquid bags as possible, as you want. Like, you can have unlimited bags of like the small bags, or even not even have bags. You can just have liquids on a plane. That's fine. You just got to show them, take them out, put them back in. Then when you do the transfer from like Miami to the UK back to wherever you're going, in that middle ground there, they scan your bags again. And they're like, excuse me, you're only allowed one of these plastic bags. So then the women that'll come over and they're like, yeah, we're doing 24 hours flying. We're going from like Miami to UK, then stopping over and going to Thailand or even Australia, right? They've got the makeups, they've got the moisturizers, they've got the things like that, they've got the Coco Chanel, whatever. And they bring in the stuff because they're on flights for nearly 24 hours. Like, you need to, put a bit of deodorant on for 24 hours, for God's sake. Like, they go through that and they're like, you can't bring your favorite stuff. So like, these women are kicking off like, I've got one fragrance, a deodorant, a moisturizer, and you're telling me I can't bring these into the UK, even though I'm not staying in the UK, I'm going to somewhere else, where this was just a rule for the UK to come between. It's like, the UK just fucked, not only just from like all elements. There's just no logic, right? There's no logic to be like, oh, just one plastic bag. It's like, why not 2 plastic bags? If it's deodorant and safe, then why can't you have 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's out in a zippy bag and you're scanning it anyway, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the logic of that one, like, because for me it doesn't sound logical.
Anyone who's working at the airport right now, listen to this. Hit us up in the DMs. We want to hear your story. We want to hear this because obviously this is our side of the story. We want to hear your side of the story because it could be legit, but we want to get an explanation on this because I mean it's good. But
They probably hate it too.
Yeah, probably because they're thinking, "What is this rule? We look like idiots." Because they look the worst, right? More, it's not the rule, but they look like idiots as well at the same time. Talking about experiences at like airports and stuff. What's been the worst one you guys have had? Obviously, could you class this as your worst one or not really? Has there been any other ones that you're like, "Oh my God, that was actually terrible"?
Well, I had a really stressful one when I was flying to Brazil. And I was doing a layover in Sao Paulo. It's absolutely the worst airport I've ever been to. Sao Paulo's airport is just confusing as fuck. And because they don't speak English, and you need to go and get stamped from one place and you need to check in at one place and then there's so many like steps of what you need to do. And there's so many people. I just remember I was there and I was just so confused. And I was like, eu não falo de português. And then I was like, I just tried to get like navigation. And I spent such a long time trying to find someone who just spoke English and said, go there, do this, go there, do that. And then checking this over there. It was literally, that was probably more stressful than this because at that point I had no one I could even ask for help. Like there was no there was no one, and I was quite young, so I was 20, and I was traveling for the first time on my own to a country where they didn't speak English. So that was stressful. I remember it. And then I was like, oh yeah, I would love to. And I decided I wasn't gonna do a layover via Sao Paulo. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna take a bus. Like I was like, anything I can do to not fly into Sao Paulo, then I'll do that. But then I ended up doing it anyway. And I was like, I know what to do. I know what to do. So yeah, that was stressful.
Right, China's a fucking mystery. But like Guangzhou, whatever, I butchered the name, whatever. Guangzhou, one of the first ever trips in 2019, Bali, the UK to China, China to Bali. Was that all right? Got it. Nailed it. Boss man. 19-hour layover. Yeah, it should be fine. Just get some work done. I realized how long 19 hours is. It's nearly a day.
Yeah, you can't do
And
that.
I'm like, I basically co-inhabited this little space in the corner of this terminal. So firstly, I didn't know how to check in because no one speaks English. The signs are not even, they're literally Swahili. They're literally everything opposed to anything English. So you can't even pay with your card to get food because you're like, you can't pay with your card because everything's on WeChat, which is like WhatsApp for Chinese people. And basically they've got like QR codes that they tap on, which is phenomenal now because everyone uses QR codes. But they were back in the day, they were smashing that out and left out and center.
Whoops.
QR codes for this, QR code to go to the toilet, QR code for a bottle of water, QR code, everything. So I was just sitting there going, I'm hungry. Even in the McDonald's, I can't pay for nothing. And I'm like, this is a nightmare. So I had this blanket, I had shorts on, thinking I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to Bali. It's like, you're going to be warm there. Well, it might as well have been Antarctic in that fucking airport because it was freezing. Like literally, I was sitting there going, I think I'm getting hypothermia right now. For like 19 hours sitting in this blanket in the corner, just shaking like this. I was like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. So yeah, that was a nightmare.
Wait, how did you recover from that then? So you went from like, okay, there's no well, you don't have WeChat. Did you have to download WeChat just to get food or what? Like, what happened? So how did you get food? Or you just fasted?
I didn't. I had a bottle of water. I got free refills of a bottle of water.
That's
I
15.
remember flying to meet you in Bali, and it was so cold on the flight. Do you remember? I was like, I need to buy blankets. So I had to buy like the scarf thing. I'm like, I need this for the flight back because it was literally like I was sitting in the chair. I'm like, I'm fucking going to a tropical country from a pretty hot country, and I was dying for that flight. Oh my God. I think it probably had cold when I arrived in Bali. And I must say that,
And then
yeah.
as soon as you go to Bali, where you're like, oh my God, it's actually quite warm now and it's all good.
Oh,
Or
it
is
was tropical, right?
You
So
step off the plane and you just start whipping clothes off like that.
forget that blanket, it's not coming back again.
Yeah. So it's now a sarong because it's the only thing I'm wearing.
but I must say, going to New Zealand was also a bit stressful because I had brought my lunchbox on the flight, and they were like, they're so strict with what you cannot bring into the country. And I had finished it, but it was like a tiny leaf in the bag. So I declared that, I had lunch. I still have the box in there, but
I declared that I had lunch. How wild is that? Sorry, guys. Just
My
No,
macaroni.
but
they're
I
like,
just had lettuce and kale, and is that allowed?
it's not. I tell you that it's not. So I literally declared that I had a lunchbox which I've eaten in my like, do you have anything to declare? And they were like, okay, you can walk. And they had like different lines. Some were like scanning, some were like, and they had a dog, and the dog started jumping at me. And I'm like, holy fuck. And so the dog were like literally jumping at me, and I was like, okay. So you're like, miss, can you come with us? And they took me to this other room, and they were like opening up, and they looked at the lunchbox, and it was literally like the tiniest little leaf of a salad thing. And in the end, they were like doing tests, and they're like, only because you declared it, we're not going to fine you. And it would have been like, I was considered, I've been giving a formal warning. And it was like, I was like, holy fuck, I just ate my lunch, and I did, yeah. So I was given a formal warning.
Would it be like 10K or something like that?
It would have been like some ridiculous amount of money. So I got like, this formal warning on a piece of paper, and I was considered lucky as I exited the airport. it was super stressful as well. I'm like, holy fuck, it's like, it's like because I've accidentally traveled with some weird stuff on me. And yeah, this was stressful.
PTSD. I mean, do you reckon these guys have PTSD as well? Because they think if they even see like a little bit of a leaf, they think that's drugs. Because they just see so much potentially.
No, because
in
they
day-to-day
care
life.
so much about their their biosphere, like so they only really care about not bringing in anything alive or that has been alive or from other parts, like food wise, because they care about their, what's it called, the biology of
Yeah, biodiversity.
It's
biodiversity,
same
right?
as Australia, right? Australia exactly the same, right? Well, I
No,
know. They're not.
not as strict.
But they still strict though. Like we went through some scanners and they're like, have you got anything to declare? And it's like, have you got supplements on you? Have you got? Yeah, I had to declare creatine.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
not cocaine.
yeah. I was like, do like just sniff it or drink it, and I might drink it.
You should.
I remember actually when I flew over from Fiji back to Australia, I'm like, I picked up this beautiful big seashell. I'm like, I'm not allowed to bring this in, but I brought it in. I put it in my trousers.
Oh,
Got nothing to declare. So I walked over with like a big seashell in my trousers, and I was shitting myself actually. So yeah,
that would have been a
Does
sad,
that
wouldn't it?
smell?
Yeah.
no. But I like actually, because what I did, like, because it could be things, particles that look saliva. Yeah, exactly. What's that smell?
Yeah,
But I
literally.
boiled it and I killed, like, I actually, like, I boiled things, and I was like literally trying to just like kill off whatever would have been on the shell. But I remember then I was shitting myself as well.
Do you
Well,
still have it?
at least your shit would have caught within the shell if you were
Yeah,
if you would have shit.
You're like a cop, right? Would be perfect. That they're perfectly as well.
yeah, yeah.
Like a bedpans. But
Yeah.
isn't it just mental? Like they let British people in. Like, aren't we? We're like the stupid of the stupidest. Like we must have like you know people from like I don't know Rochdale or something like that save up all their money to come for Australia, and they're going in with bed lice and all of the bacteria that are on the clothes already, and then they're gonna let those guys in and said they won't let a lettuce in. Like,
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I never get it. But I guess, like I said, they probably have PTSD, right? In my opinion. But for me, I probably would say coming into Miami. Do you remember, Nate, that time when I was coming into Miami?
hilarious.
Because what happened was I had this couple of months beforehand, I had this kind of issue with immigrants coming in, but they were by themselves and stuff. So as soon as I popped in, I had like my beard was exactly the same, no issues, all that kind of stuff. Next thing you know, I was walking through by myself, and police officer just sees me, goes, and he pulls me to the side, and I'm like, oh, here we fucking go, terrorism, all that kind of stuff in a minute. First he goes, hola, ¿cómo estás? And I go, muy bien, yeah. Big mistake. They thought they thought I was Spanish, right? So they're thinking, and they start speaking Spanish. I'm like, no, I'm British, I'm British. They were so confused because they were like, this guy's shitting it. And this guy he's not, he goes, where's your passport? Literally, my passport obviously British. Showed it me like, he looks so confused, like, there's no way this guy's British. Then he goes, born in Kenya. He goes, where's Kenya? Then on there had a stamp of India earlier, like I think 6 months earlier when we went. And he was like, this guy's been fucking everywhere. 10 minutes questioning with this one officer. As soon as I go again, just straight into the door, another two pull me to the side. I'm like, Jesus, I just had a chat with your mate. So, like literally 5 minutes ago. They're like, no, we still need to have a chat with you. Same shit. And then you had to prove your work. I had to prove my work. I had to prove I've not been to Afghanistan or Pakistan or anything like that. But they said, you went to India. What are you doing in India? I'm like, chilling out. Then they didn't believe me that I was coming to America for like the NFL and all that. They were like, you're shitting it. They go to me, who's your favorite player? They start questioning me this shit. I go, Eli Manning. And they were like, see, New York Giant fan. I'm like, yeah. I go, and I actually started talking to them about LeBron. And for about a good 10 minutes, they still didn't believe me because they were like, my passport was kind of, I was all over the place, but if you're born in Kenya, they think you're gonna have a Kenyan passport. But I'm like, no, I live in England. So I got a British passport. And then they're like, but you went to India as well. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to visit there. It was a nightmare. And then in the queue, it was about 2 hours before I saw Nate. Nate was already there like 3 hours ago. And he was like somewhere else. It was absolutely mental. But like Yeah, don't go with the beard basically. Anyone goes to Miami, if you're Asian, just
Yeah, I mean, this
chill
is
out.
where I really feel like the white privilege becomes so apparent and actually like sickens me a little bit. Which is why I could probably get away with not declaring my seashell, because there will be so many Indians and Chinese that get stopped by the border and they want to search them. They don't care about this little white girl. And I'm just thinking, I'm the one you should search here. I'm the one with the seashell in my underwear.
You know what? Adam Haley messaged me before we went to Vegas. He goes, good luck tomorrow, mate. Just let me know if you do get stopped over and you get searched. I was like, what? I go, he goes, yeah, like when with Nate a couple of years ago, and I think it was one of your other mates.
Tarek, yeah, Tarek's Arab. He got stopped.
And he goes, yeah, you may get stopped because you got a bigger beard. And I was like, oh fuck. And then you know when you're like you got like anxiety just because you're in the queue and thinking, and they're literally like waiting in Vegas. And if you're an Asian, they're like, you're coming here, like you're gonna party and stuff. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. And they just don't believe it. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna search you up, go into interrogation. But they didn't do anything to me, luckily. But I was just like, I got fucking PTSD from that shit. In a minute, I know it's gonna be the case. But I said this to Nate even before I went to Miami. I was like, well, I'm gonna get searched. Just FYI, could be a bit, could be a bit of a delay. Just we've got to get used to it. So it's one of those things.
Be there 5 hours early, just in case.
Pretty much. But hey, I'm used to it in a sense because it's not being too bad. I mean, even in India, we got stopped because our pictures looked too young and we looked different. Do you remember that, Nate? It was like 45 minutes of one guy looking at pictures, analyzing it, telling his mates, is this Nate? Is this Kunal right here? They look well different, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, when you go, we didn't have an issue when we went to like different cities. Like I never had an issue then. I remember. Like, Nate, do you remember? I don't think I had any issues. I went from Miami to Chicago that same, like,
No.
literally 24 hours later, no issues there. So I think you're okay when you're like in the US. But I think when you're coming into the US, they like literally like, they just have PTSD obviously from 9/11 and all that kind of stuff. But which I kind of get. I was like, you know what, I'd rather you just search me up. So then there's no other terrorists on the plane. Like if you're like easy on me, I'm like, fuck me, you're gonna be easy on every other person right now. So I'm like, look, just search me up, bro. I got nothing to hide anyway. So
I'll spread the sheets for you.
yeah, like look, because at that point, like me crying about, oh my god, like this is racism, etc. But then like, I could still, it could be something else on the plane. You'd be like, oh fuck me, this is good because I can now creep into this and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the only time I remember Miami. I was like, this is a different experience than usual. But yeah, the rest has been fine. I think even Australia, funny enough, when I went about a good 10 years ago, it wasn't too bad. But I remember it was like super strict. Us Asians, we love to take some food, like especially for like my aunt and uncle live there as well. So they're requesting things from here, the Indian snacks and stuff. And we're like, is it going to be possible? We actually managed to sneak it in, weirdly enough, because they put it right at the bottom. So they saw the top and they're like, oh yeah, we can't take this. They didn't see the bottom part and they closed the bag and they're like, oh, you can go now. And we're like, oh, we still kept some stuff. Great. That's how we tend to kind of do things anyway. But that was the funniest thing for me. But that's when I realized how strict they were. They don't take any bullshit either. Like they're dead serious in their job, and it's no joke. You know how you got like yesterday, you got someone telling you, so right, well, you'll never get in Australia. They're just like, all right, bye, and that's it. Whatever. They'll be done with you, and they were like, next, and you're still like in tatters and you're like in tears. Like I saw that loads of times in Australia there, and it was interesting. But it's interesting to see how everyone's rules are so different, as well. Like in terms of security, strictness, all that kind of stuff. So it is fascinating. What about best experience? So we talk about work experience, best experience, whether it's service, flights, country as well, getting into that country.
I think flying business from Dubai to the UK was really cool. That was just like a different experience overall. But in terms of like you just random flight with great quality. I never like South America was really good. Like they have like an airline that goes to various different places. I forgot what it's called now. But on that one, I'd used it about 3 or 4 times, and they recognized that I'd used it 3 or 4 times and upgraded me a few times just by utilizing it. You never get that with Ryanair, right? You wouldn't get, oh yeah, you've used it 4 times in the last month. Here's an extra cheese sandwich. But like with those guys, it was cool. But like best quality for the cheapest price was Indonesian Air. Like when going to Thailand, that was really good. They were good, great quality for very, very cheap, and the food was good, and yeah, it was just like it was like a you would it was like an Emirates flight. I mean, Emirates, if you just fly with Emirates or Qatar, like you're going to get a good experience overall. In terms of airports, I think the best one I'd been in for like shit to do or whatever is, I think it's Bali or Thailand has like what the best voted one. Like one has like a one, but I think Bangkok has the
Yeah.
rainforest / waterfall in the middle of it, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. What's yours then?
I don't really know. As you said, though, like I mean, I like flying. I've flown with Qatar so many times now. I'm actually like one of their upgraded members because that's how frequent I flew for a brief period. But yeah, I can't say that I have this. I'm like in travel mode when I travel, so I don't necessarily. I acknowledge when the people are nice, but I don't know. I just mind my own thing. When I sit on the flight, I sit there. I flew with Malaysian Airlines. They were actually also quite friendly, and the food was actually really nice. I remember the food was really good. But even like now with Qatar, like you can choose from like 10 different types of menus, whether you want to have a vegan, vegetarian, Hindu, lacto-ovo, gluten-free, low calorie, diabetic. Like you can actually choose all of these things, which I think is it's good. But yeah, I can't say I remember like a best one.
I agree with Nate with Thailand actually, because Bangkok it's also quite quick, if that makes sense. Like you're done very, very, very quickly. I don't think you waste too much time. You're literally as soon as you get in there. I remember it was just 20 minutes of like, just stamping things up and then getting your bags. And I was like, was that it? And then you're thinking, because you always think it's gonna be like an hour, 2 hours until you get out potentially. And sometimes when you also get in, but it was also really, really cool. I think they also have another flight. Is it Air Asia? Can't remember. Is it Air Asia? And that was also a really good flight. They had like eggs. That eggs on a flight is never the greatest, right? And this one was amazing.
Powder.
I didn't, yeah, it was just amazing. I was just like, wow, scrambled eggs. Maybe I was just like, what's going on? And I had eggs every single day in Bangkok anyway. But I was like, what the hell? This is amazing. They gave me some fruit next to it. I'm like, wow, macro friendly here. So I go Air Asia, Thailand. I'll tell you, Virgin's not too bad either, actually. Virgin Atlantic, I think they're actually quite decent. Annoying at times. It depends on like where you're going and stuff, but generally, they've always been good. I remember when I was going to Vegas, I don't know whether I think it was a stag party as well on my flight. One of them actually got kicked out. But that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was just someone getting like you don't think they're gonna get kicked out, and they actually give so many chances. It's unreal. Like it's so many chances, and then they literally like, well, they didn't get kicked out, but went to Vegas and got arrested or something like that. They're like, you need to just this guy's too drunk or whatever, and they had to strap him up in the flight as well. But I'd probably say yeah, Virgin, Thailand, airport, Bangkok one. Of course, it's cool now. They have that long ass name as well to it, and they have the prince's pictures everywhere, right? Um, Everywhere you go, even in a fucking taxi, they have the prince's picture just staring at you like that. But I'd say yeah, the airport is pretty amazing. Thailand in general as a country is actually quite nice. I do want to go back there.
And the best thing you can do in those places is like get get priority lounge, which is the pass where you pay like 250 quid for the year, and you just get access to all the lounges at each of the airports. Like that was for me was the best thing out of all of it, because you just basically fly first class but sit in economy. So like you get priority through the boarding, you get priority into the lounges. So like for weeks and months when I traveled, like on those days, I wouldn't eat at all, and then I'd go to the lounges and I'd just film my face, and it was great. And like you just be able to sit in there, you do your work, you'd have some food. We did that in India as well, didn't we? Like we did that in one of the airports. So it's like we're just stopping over for a few hours, get some food, get some dosa, get some idli, and then crack on the next flight. So like that would be, if I was traveling more often, maybe next year, I'll do that again because it's gold.
I agree with you. But yeah, guys, would love to hear obviously your travel experiences. Best ones, worst ones. Obviously, Em's got a flight today, so Emily, good luck. Fingers crossed that you're in Dubai. How long would it be? Like 7 hours flight? 6 hours?
About 7.
7 hours, yeah. So good luck. Hopefully in 7 hours time. We see you and your stories, and you're like, I'm in Dubai, and obviously Nate's in your stories as well, so it'll be good. And you can obviously enjoy it as well. But next week we'll be back again. I think next week we'll talk about podcasts, and our favorite ones, etc. I think this one's a good one purely because Ed went through it, experience literally 24 hours ago, so it's fresh as well. But apart from that, guys, take care, share with friends, family, subscribe. I think on YouTube as well. We're on YouTube, so subscribe on YouTube as well, and like, comment as well. And yeah, take care.